students. How are you all? I hope you all are great. You all are doing very well in your life. Everything is going very well. How's your study? You'll say that ma'am is asking so many questions in a one go. It's not like that, students. I hope you all are great. You all are fine. As I hope you have seen the last two videos in which we have studied about the synthetic fibers and like what are their advantages, what are their disadvantages, and even though we have discussed the properties of these synthetic fibers as well, some of the synthetic fibers, if you remember, like this whole chapter is based upon the synthetic fiber and plastic. Exactly. So like in the very first session we have discussed about synthetic fiber, that what are those. So anyone can remember that, like what is the synthetic fiber, or do you remember like what is the synthetic fiber? Yeah, this is my question, that do you know what is synthetic fiber? Because I have taught you this thing, that what is the synthetic fiber. So synthetic fibers are those type of fibers which are man-made, or you can say that these are the type of the fibers which are artificial in nature. Exactly, that are artificial, and that are, you can say that these are the man-made fibers as well. That means which we prepared, which are prepared by human beings only. That means we human beings do something and we get synthetic fiber from that. Okay, so that is are called as the synthetic fiber, and then we have discussed their limitations, we have discussed their advantages. Now today your new topic here is plastics. Plastic is one of those words, we can say that which we are using from long time. It's not like that it is a some kind of thing which we are using from last 1 or 2 days or last 1 or 2 years. It is a very basic, or you can say that a very common thing which we use daily. Like like I can say that like daily, or we are using plastic everywhere. We are taking plastic in our uses at a very large rate, or you can say that a very high rate. Exactly. Like if I ask you now that, okay, where do you see plastic? Where do you see plastic? Now there, like if we start thinking about it, the list is not going to be stopped at any point, because we are having so many uses of plastic in our life. We are using plastic in many different ways. It's not like that we are using plastic only in plastic, in polythene bags or something like that, because the today's lecture is whole about plastic. Like I'll just show you the topics which we are going to cover today. That is the plastic, then we are going to cover types of plastic, then it is characteristics of plastic, plastics as a material of choice, and plastic and its effect of environment. Because yes, even though we are having so many uses or so many advantages about the plastics, but even though using of plastic is not good for us. Exactly. Like it is a very trendy topic, or you can say very very, like we can say the hot topic which is going on right now, that whether we should use plastics or not, because plastic creates pollution. I hope my student know this thing, that plastic creates pollution. Exactly. And even though, have you heard, like in many of the areas, or you can say that in countries, they are not using plastic, like they are totally plastic free, or you can say that they have banned the plastic. But even though if I talk about myself, or even though some that part also, we are having plastic in many uses, in many different ways. So like, yeah, starting with, see, like we where we use plastic, we can say first of all it comes in our mind only that it is polythene bags. Exactly. That what we are using polythene bags. Polythene bags is the most common use of the plastic, because we use that bags to carry our materials like our vegetables, fruits, even though our books or something like that. That if we are going somewhere, so we used to carry some bag along with us, so that we can put our sorry student, so that we can put our stuff into that. Exactly, so that is our polythene bags we are using. Then we are having plastic bottles are there, plastic bottles are there, plastic bottles. Then what else we are having, many things which we are using in the case of plastic, in the way of plastic. Exactly, like if we start writing down the list, it will not be a list, it will be an end list, because it will be and it is having so many uses. Okay, now, okay, so we know this thing. Okay, plastics are we are using here, plastic we are using there. Like plastic come in our use in that way or in this way. Now, if I ask you one question here, like what is plastic? Question is what is plastic? So generally, what happened that if we ask to someone that what is plastics, so we generally used to give their examples. Okay, that polythene is a plastic. We used to give, okay, that toothbrush is a plastic material, or we used to say that, okay, that handle, that pen handle is a plastic. But if we talk about the exact definition of plastic, coming to the point that what is the exact definition, so, okay, I'll just give you 2 minutes. Try to think about it. Okay, that if I'm ask you this question, that what is plastic? So, what will be your answer? What will be the correct thing about it? Okay, because by giving the example, it will be easy to us to make someone understand about plastic. But if I ask you to write down the definition in the for the plastic, so what it will be? Because everyone knows their like their examples, but the point come here is about the definition of plastic, which is an important question, because we are studying what we are studying totally about plastic. So the important question is that what is the definition of plastic? So my students got the answer about it, or should I tell you? Fine. So, like before going to the before going deep down into the topic of plastic, if you have watched the videos of the 2 sessions before this session, because we have covered some topics in that. So, we have discussed one small topic in that, that is called as the polymers. Do you remember one word, polymer? I hope my students can remember it, because I have given one of the like a very basic example about it, so that you can remember that what is the polymer. So yes, students, polymer is what? That polymers are made up of many repeating units. That many units combine themselves, and that's how they form a polymer. That if this is a monomer, then these monomers are combining themselves and they forming a large structure of it, which is called as the polymer. So students, like if you remember, I have given you one example of you can say that okay, we are going to construct one building, or we are going to construct one office, your schools or something like that, or houses. So what we require so many things to made it up. Exactly, like we require cement, we require land, we require bricks. But the main component is the brick only, because why we used to repeat that brick and then we get the whole structure of it. Exactly. So you can say that that brick is the repeating unit of that building. So that is how student polymers are also formed. That the repeating unit repeat themselves, and that repeating units are called as the what? Do you remember that? That repeating unit is called as the monomers. That means the monomers combine themselves and then they form the polymers. So students, like in the last sessions, when we come to know, okay, there are two type of the fiber. One is the synthetic one and another is the natural one. So I have discussed that thing that these two are the type of the what? These two are also made are the polymers only. So the plastic is also a polymer, student, but it depends upon the monomers which we are using. Because you will say, ma'am, okay, fibers are using in that way, so why we can't use plastic in that way? Because it depends upon the monomer properties which we are using. Okay, so it depends upon it. For example, So, for example, we can say that we can't use plastic to make our clothes. The like this sweater which I'm wearing right now, I can't use plastic to make my sweater. Exactly, it is made up of fiber because we are using thread in that, and the plastic is made up of different type of monomers. So you can say that what first of all that the plastic is a polymer. Same like the synthetic and natural, it is also made up of the polymers in which monomers are adding themselves and they are forming the polymers. So that is how you can say that the plastics are also a type of polymer. But now the point comes here again that okay, it is a polymer, but how you are going to define plastics? So okay, I have written two examples here. So we'll take these two examples only. These two are the plastics. Exactly, student. Polythene bags are also plastic, and the plastic bottle is also a plastic. But you can see the difference between these two. That one is the bag that we are using it in the form of bag, and the another one is the bottle in which we use to fill our, or we can say that we can fill water or tea, coffee, whatever you like. Okay, even though the cold drink like the cold drinks which we used to drink, it comes into the large container that is made up of the plastic only. So that's how we are having different shapes of it. Exactly, that we are having different like the polythene shape is not exactly same that of the bottle. Exactly, like if I draw one picture here, so don't go over my drawing because plastic bag will look like this. Okay, it is a plastic bag. Do you find it like a plastic bag? Okay, no problem. Just take it as a plastic bag. And this is the bottle. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Can you get a feel of bottle from it? So this is a bottle. So you can remember, you can relate. Okay, both are having different shapes. So that's a student. You can say that the plastics is that kind of the material which we can remold into different shapes. Remolds into different shapes by heating them. It's like we have to give some kind of force, or that force is in the form of the heat, and that's how they melt and we recreate them. So that's how student you can say that the plastics are those materials which we can use easily by remolding them into different shapes. And that's how students you are getting number of plastic material in your surrounding. Like if I say now you are sitting in one room and I ask you to look here and there and find out that what is made up of plastic, at least you can tell me 10 things. Exactly. Even though the pen which I'm using right now here, you can see this pen is also having a plastic body. This is the plastic body only. Even though it's the tip which I'm using to write down, it is also made up of plastic only. The body of my laptop, it is also made up of plastic. Even though what else I can show you? Okay, I'll just show you my mobile phone. The mobile phone, this phone case cover is also made up of plastic. This phone case cover. Okay, but it's just that they are having different properties. The toothbrush or the toys the like small children used to play with them. So that's how even the chairs, tables, plastic chair, I'm talking about plastic chairs and table. We are having wooden table and chairs as well, but right now we are studying plastics, so I'm giving you the example of plastics only. Okay, so everything like these are so many things which are having plastic, but it's just that we are using in them in different forms. Like we so the plastics are those kind of materials which we can remold easily and used into different shapes by just providing the heat. Okay, so this is called as the plastic, students. Now, as you can see, plastic is also a polymer like a synthetic fiber, and the plastic do not have the same type of arrangement of units. See, now you will say, okay, coming to this point again. Now, the heading which they have written that they have not the arrangement of units like same every time. Why? Because students like there are different arrangement of the monomers. It depends how. I'll tell you. But first of all, now you can relate. Okay, what is the plastic? We can recycle the plastic as well. So one important point also here that we can recycled it, reused it, Okay, and we can say that we can get many colorful material from it, that we can colored it, and even though we can melt it and remold into different shape, which I have already written here. So these are the plastics. Fine. Now I hope if someone is going to ask you what is plastic, you are not going to simply give them an example. You will try to make them understand by giving this definition. So we can say that the plastic is a type of the material which can be remolded into different shapes. Okay, by heating it. Then you can give the example. Okay, one is the plastic bottle, one is the polythene bags, and then you'll tell that, okay, sir, have you seen the plastic bags? Have you seen the plastic bottles? They both are of the same shapes. They'll say no. So that's how you can tell the example or the definition of plastic. Fine. Now, students, like again, the arrangement of the monomers, how it comes. Yes, they are having different arrangement of monomers. Now, how? I'll show you that picture also, but first of all, I'll just want to clear something to you. Okay, this is a surprise for you. Don't worry about it. So first of all, it's just that they are having the different arrangement. You can say different arrangement of monomers. How they are differently arranged? Because students, it depends. Like the different arrangement of the monomers will play a very big role. Uh, in the case of the properties of plastic, okay, like if I talk about that is some type of the plastic are soft in nature, and some type of the plastic material are hard in nature. Like if I talk about this plastic body of my pen, it is very hard in nature because I can't break down it easily, even though I can't bend it. Is that if I try to bend it, it will not going to bend. So that's how it is a hard plastic. But student, we are having polythenes we are having. If I try to stretch it, so what will happen after some time? It will get like tear down. So that's how student they are that we can say that it is a kind of the soft plastic, and this is the kind of the hard plastic, and it totally depends upon the arrangement of monomers. Now how? Because students, it's like that. Okay, if I give you one of the example, that if you're having one wood log, and if you try to break it down, you will easily break down it. Okay, but if there is a bundle of wood log, and I'll say, okay, now try to break it down, you can't break down it very easily. You will have to do something so that you can break down it. You'll say, ma'am, you are just making fool of us. It is one of the story which we have heard from our grandparents, or we can say that we have heard this story in our books. Exactly. Do you remember this story? Because I can remember this story because it is a nice story. And because from this story we come to know something like like it is a kind of the story from which we get some moral values, that we should always stay together kind of thing. Okay, but we don't have to discuss it here. It's just that why I tell you, because when the monomers are present in a single form only, so that is how they will become soft in nature. They will not that much hard or strong. But when those monomers are combined in such form that they are forming network between these two, so what will happen? It will become strong in nature. For example, student, you can take this thing on you also. Like you are a person here. Okay, just take example of myself only. I'm taking my example. I'm here in on this planet, and it's just like I'm a that kind of person that I don't like to talk to people. That means I don't want to make friends. So what happened that I am a kind of people who just want to live alone. So what will happen that I will be that at some point I will become weak. Okay, because what happened that if I want to do some work, and if I'm not able to that, if I'm sick and I'm not able to do that, and I'm not having any friends, so who is going to do my work? So that time I will feel weak. But if I'm having many friends and I'm having very happy bonding with them, so what will happen? I have made such type of network that my strength will become more. So that is our students. If we talk about monomers, if the monomers are just simply arranging themselves, so they are not that much strong. But if those monomers will form a network kind of thing, so they will become strong because they are getting strength from everywhere. Okay, so that's how they will become strong in nature. So students, in the case of the plastic, we are having different arrangement of monomers, and these are of the two types, we can say. So you can see here that one is the type of the linear type of arrangement and one is the cross-linked. So like if I ask you that which one will be the more stronger, that which one is having the more strength, you will say, ma'am, you haven't shown us what is linear. You didn't tell us that what is cross-linked. So how we are going to answer this? So students, like if I tell you about the linear one, so the linear one is like that okay, just consider this small circles, these are the monomers and this is the linear one, because they are just in the single chain. But if we talk about cross-linked, so in the cross-linked, what will happen, that this is the one of the chain is present here, the another chain is here. Okay, and now the what will happen, that these chains are cross-linked with each other. That's how, with the different. So these are the cross-linked. Now students, this is a type of the thing. Now you can see that these are the linear chain, that this monomer is getting the strength only from these two. But in this case, what happened, that the monomers are linked in such a form that they are getting more strength from each of the side. So these case, you can say that the cross-linked polymers, or you can say that the cross-linked plastics which we are having, they are having more strength. Okay, so I'll just show you one picture here also. Just a second, my students. My dear students. You'll say ma'am is in a funny mood right now. Okay, so yeah, you can see now, like in this picture, you can see that this is the linear one in which monomers are just present in the single chain. Now the second is a type of the linear one only, it's just that you are getting some branching in it, so it is called as the branched one. Now coming to the cross link, you can see that there are the different chains of the polymer. It's just that the chains of the polymers are they are having some cross linking between these two. So you can see that these are the cross linking between them. So these are the type of the, you can say, polymers which are having the cross linking, and that's how their strength is increasing. Now coming to the fourth type, which is the network one. In the network one, what you can see, that they are combining with themselves in a very, like they are combining from each and everywhere. So you can say that the strength is coming from each and every side, and due to this, the hardness of that type of plastic is going to be increased. Okay, so that is how, students, we are having different type of plastic. Somewhat we are having some type of plastic which are softer in nature, and we are having some type of plastics which are harder in nature. So that's how, student, due to the arrangement, you can say that due to the different arrangement of the monomers, you are getting the different properties of the plastics. Got my point? So that's the main point behind the plastics. Like because someone can ask you, like if I, okay, if in your exam or in your someone can ask you in generally also, okay, just tell me one thing, that this is hard but this is soft, why? So how you are going to say that? You will just say that because of the arrangement of the particles or the arrangement of the monomers which are used up in the formation of the plastic, they are differently arranged. So that's how we are getting the different properties. Fine, my students. I hope my students are not getting bored of this lecture, because I am going to show you one video right now. Now you'll say, ma'am, that how? What? Which video? So there is one surprise, na? So that's the surprise here. Because students, now we are going to discuss about the types of plastics. We are having two type of plastic. One is the thermosetting and another one is the thermoplastic. Okay, so just give me a minute and I'll show you that video also. But first of all, okay, and by looking this video, you are not going to get bored of this lecture. Okay, so first of all, it's just that types of plastics. So if we talk about types of plastic, students, so we are having two type of plastics. So one is the thermosetting plastic, thermosetting, and one is the thermosetting plastic, and another one we can say that is thermoplastic only. Okay, now student, if I ask you that what is thermo किसे कहते हैं, like what do you understand by this thermo term which we use? So the thermo term, student, which we use, it relates with heat. That means thermo means, have you heard that thermometer? Thermometer, why we use thermometer? Thermometer is used to measure our body temperature. Exactly like whenever we are having fever, so our mother or father used to put the thermometer inside our mouth, or but like with nowadays we are having digital thermometers. But yes, if we talk about thermometer which are having mercury, okay, so mercury is a metal, na? Yeah, you'll say ma'am is going to another chapter because you are having metal and non-metals also in your syllabus. Okay, we'll discuss it later. But first of all, coming to thermo. Yes, thermo relates to heat. That means when we are giving heat to something, then it is going to increase the temperature, and that's how it is relating with heat. So these are the two type of plastics. Okay, and how we are getting it? So just look at this. Okay, so now we are going to see this video, and like whenever it required to explain something to you, I'll just stop video there and I'll just explain that thing to you. Okay, so just give me a minute. Okay, so we are starting with our video, and I hope my student will like my video. Just a second, students. It's just that okay.
The moment we wake up early in the morning and start with our daily chores, we depend on various items. You may say there are many in the list. Yes, but most of the items used by us are made up of a single material collectively known as plastic. Yes, the toothbrush handle, the comb, plates, bottles, lunch boxes, bodies of refrigerators, water purifiers, laptops, and so many other articles. The list would be endless. So, are all these articles made up of plastic? Yes, but they are quite different from each other. So, how is that possible? Well, it is possible because plastic itself comes in various forms. What do we mean by this? To understand this, let us draw two figures. Can you tell me the
So yes, students, like you have seen that we are having so many things which are made up of plastic. Like we are surrounded with plastic only. Like we are using plastic in different forms. Like combs, toothpaste tubes. You can say that the tubes which we are getting, not toothpaste is a plastic one. It's the tube which we are getting. Okay, so it is also made up of plastic covering only. Okay, so that's how we are getting so many uses of the plastic, but they all are different from each other in some ways. So as I told you, it is because of the arrangement of this monomer, so you can understand it from here also. Okay, one is the linear one and another one is the cross-linked one.
difference between the two? Yes, the first one is linear in fashion. On the other hand, the second one is interlinked. This type is called the cross-linking type. But why are we studying these now? We know that plastic is a polymer. Now the various monomeric units in the different plastics are arranged in different patterns. And what would these patterns be? Yes, they are either linearly arranged or they are arranged in a cross-linked manner. Not only the arrangement, but even the difference in monomeric units that make up the polymer is responsible for giving us the various forms. However, plastics are usually classified in two major categories. Let us take two commonly used examples.
So yeah, before starting with the types of the plastic, like we are going to discuss about the thermosetting and the thermoplastic. So now I hope my students are cleared about the that what is the plastic and what is the linear one and what is the cross-linked one. Like cross-linked one, when you are having the interlinking, that is called as the cross-linked polymer, and when you are having the polymers, because the you have seen that the plastic is the polymer only, and when you are having linear one, it is the plastic only, that the linear plastic form. So you can say that. Now we are going to discuss about the plastic one. So see, now she is going to show you one experiment. Please observe that. Okay,
One is the handle of a frying pan, while the other is a simple water bottle. What will happen when you heat the two? Needless to say, the bottle will melt within no time, but the handle will just heat up without much physical change. Can you tell me why? If both are plastics, then why is there so much difference?
So see students, like this plastic handle which she is showing you here, and even though the laptops which we are using, and sometimes have you observed that when we use our phones for a very long time, like we are using our phone for a, like we are using it, and after some time what happened, that our phone is going to be heat up, like the body of the phone is going to be heat up, like we feel some hotness over it. So why we are, but it is not going to be melt easily. But that same heat, if we give to some plastic bottle, it will just melt like within no time. We don't have to wait for it. So what's the reason behind that? That why we are not getting, like in one case it is going to be melt very easily, but in this another case we are not seeing that type of change. Why so? M- Whether both are the plastic only, but the difference is there. Why there is some difference? So now we are going to discuss this.
Well, that is because the two are different types of plastics. The first one, which makes up the handle, is called the thermosetting plastic, while the other type is referred to as the thermoplastic. Looking at the incidence of heating, can you tell me the basic difference between the two? That's correct. Thermosetting plastics are those which do not melt on heating. While manufacturing the particular article, when the plastic is casted into mold, it takes up the form permanently. It cannot be remolded later. The two most commonly used examples of thermosetting plastics are melamine.
Okay, yeah, we'll discuss their examples as well. But student, have you observed like what is the thermosetting plastic? So now the first one which I have written here, that is the thermosetting plastic. So it is a type of the plastic which is, it is a type of the plastic which is not going to melt easily, you can say that, or over a time it is not going to be melt, or it is just that they are not that much soft that by giving some heat they are going to be melted down. So such type of plastic are called as the thermosetting plastic. That means at the time of the manufacturing, the shape which we have given to it, the that shape cannot be remolded into any other shape. Okay, so that's how you can say that these are the type plastic which is not going to be melt easily by giving heat, by by giving by giving heat. Then it is called as the thermosetting plastics. Okay, like if you can see so many things we are having, like I have given you one of the example of our phones, that when we use our phones for a long time and it start heating up, even though it is not going to be melt. Have you seen, like you have used your phone and it's like when it is going to take a very long time and it is going to be heat up and it start melting? Have you seen that? No, exactly no, because it is a type of the plastic which is made, plastic which is a thermosetting plastic. That means even though if you are giving it heat, even though if you are increasing the temperature, it is not going to be melt, or you can't remold into the other shape. That is called as the thermosetting plastic. And now we are having two type of the thermosetting plastic, even though we are having more. But if we discussed with you that we are having two type of it, so the type of it is that one is the melamine, it is the melamine one, and the another one is the bakelite. Okay, so student, these melamine and the bakelite are the more polymers, and these are made up of the different monomers. And see students, why we are not discussing that, because it is not in your syllabus right now, because they are having some chemical reactions between them. So you will study them later, so don't worry about it. Right now what you have to learn, that okay, what is the thermosetting and what are the example of that thermosetting plastic. Okay, but before starting with this example, if I ask you, or if I ask you to just remind in your mind, or just take one of the example that you are using it and it is not going to be melt easily, so what is that? Just take any example in your mind. I hope my students are getting some of the examples. Okay, so I hope my students can get some of the examples in their mind. Okay, fine, student. Now coming to one point, can I say that the thermosetting plastic, I'm talking about thermosetting plastic, can it be a fire resistant as well? Fire resistant, that means if we are giving it temperature, that means if we are giving it heat and it is not going to be changed, but so can it be a fire resistant as well? So we can say that yes, because the melamine type of the plastic which we use, we generally use it to like we are using the tiles, the flooring tiles which we use in our houses, so they are made up of that melamine. That is how they will not catch this fire easily. That means they are fire resistant as well. Okay, so we are going to see now their examples.
And Bakelite. And where are they used? Melamine is known to withstand high amounts of heat. It is therefore used in making tiles, floorings, and kitchenware. Bakelite, on the other hand, is used in making handles of kitchen utensils and switches, as it's a poor conductor of heat and electricity. So this was about thermosetting plastics.
So now student, have you observed that what are the examples of it? So if I remember, so if I just look at it, so the melamines are used in the formation of the tiles, that the flooring tiles which we used in our houses, even though it is used in the formation of the kitchenwares. Why we are kitchenwares, why we are looking at it? Because they can withstand, like they are very resistant to the heat. That means if we are giving them more and more heat, even though they are not going to be melt, so that is how they can, you can say that these are the type of the fire resistant type of material. Fire resistant. Now coming to the bakelite type. Now the bakelite type are the type of the materials, like we are using electrical switches, like we make electrical switches from them, electrical boards, you can say that. So that's how student, you can say that bakelite is such type of the plastic, even though all are the non-conductors here about the plastic if we say, but it is we are using because these are the bed conductors of plastic. Because like student, if I ask you one of the type, that the PVC pipes, I have told you in the like in the very first session of this chapter, PVC, that is the polyvinyl chloride, polyvinyl chloride, polyvinyl chloride. So these PVC pipes, I have told you also that where we use these PVC pipes. So we use these PVC pipes to insulate the wires which we are having in our houses for the electricity purpose. For example, copper wires we are having for it. So we are having copper wires so that electric current can flow through it and we can get the electricity in our houses. So why, like that wires, if we just let them to like this, that we are not having covering of it, so there will be a harm for us also, because we are also a conductor of electricity, so we can get shock from it, exactly, and it will be a very harmful thing for us. But every time when you are going to see the wires, they are having some insulating over them, that means they're insulating covering, they are having some type of covering over them, so that we can't get some shock from it even though if we are touching that wire, because that insulator will not allow the electric current to pass from that electric wire to us. So that is how we use these type of material in such a way. Even though the electric switches which we are having, if we switch off the button, if we switch on the button, so what will happen? We are not getting the electric shock. Why? Because the materials which we are using for the formation of them, it is the bakelite, which is a poor conductor of electricity or heat, so it will not going to harm us. So that is how students, such type of material, even though by increasing the temperature or even though by giving them heat, they are not going to melt down easily. That are the type of the thermosetting plastic, and these are the two type of it. One is the melamine and one is the bakelite, and we have discussed about like where we have used them. Okay, now coming to the another type of the plastic, that is the thermoplastic. Now student, thermoplastic, the word can, you can relate with the word only, you don't have to go in deeper. It's just that if you reading the word, you can say thermosetting means once it has been set, even though you are giving some temperature, it is not going to be removed. But thermoplastic means if you are giving some temperature, you can melt it and you can remold into some another shape. We can take the example of plastic bottles. We are getting different shapes of plastic bottles, we are getting different shapes of the polythene bags. So these are the things. Okay, now I'll start with the plastic, that is the thermosetting plastic. Fine students, just a second.
What could be the properties of thermoplastics then? In contrast to the thermosetting type, these can be molded or simply melted on heating. Yes, thermoplastics can be easily bent, or heated to remold it into various forms. And do we know any such type used daily? Absolutely. Polythene and PVC are the most common ones. Where do we use?
So like students, thermoplastics are those type of plastic which can be melt easily and can be remolded into different shapes. Exactly like the plastics can remold into different shapes by giving heat. Okay, just that you are using heat and you are getting it into remold into different shapes. So that is called as the thermoplastics. Now we are having the example of it like the PVC. I have given you the example. Polyvinyl chloride and the polythene is the example of it. That means whenever you can say that whenever the temperature is giving to them, so they are going to be melted. Even though plastic bottles are there, polythenes are there, PVC is there. That means PVC, polyvinyl chloride, polythene is the polythenes which we are using in our general life. Okay, so that means these are also the polymers of the monomers. It's just that the difference of the monomers which we are using in the case of the thermosetting plastic and in the case of the thermoplastic, because this can be the question that ma'am both are the plastic, so why it is just the difference of their monomers which are having different properties. Okay, so now look at this.
Polythene? Yes, right from bags to the adhesive tapes, polythene is used in various forms. And what is PVC? It stands for polyvinyl chloride. PVC comes in two distinct forms. The first one is hard or rigid PVC that is used in making strong structures like construction pipes. In contrast, the other type is soft PVC, which is used for making containers and bottles used daily by us. These were a few examples explaining how types of plastics are used. But can you tell me why plastic is a choice against
Okay, so we'll discuss it later. So like you can see that we are having two type of PVC. See student, PVC pipes are also used in the houses also, that the drainage pipes which we are using, the pipes which we are using so that we can get the water supply. So these pipes are also made up of the PVC pipe, PVC only, and that one is the hard one in nature. Okay, so that's how we are having two different type of plastic. That is, one is the thermosetting plastic and another one is the thermoplastic. And it's just that they depend upon the melting process only, that in one we are getting different shapes in the by melting them and by remolding them. That is the thermoplastic. And the thermosetting, that means once we have set their shapes, whether we are going to melt them, so we are not going to be change it into different ways. So that is the thermosetting plastics. Fine student, so these are the plastics. But student, like if we talk about some characteristics of the plastic, that what are the characteristics of the plastic generally, I'm not talking about thermosetting or the thermoplastic. If we talk about the uh, character characteristics characteristics of plastics, so we can say that students, we are having it in many form. Like even though we can say that it can be light, it can be hard, it can be strong, it can be cheap, it can be, you can say that we can find in them different forms and different colors you are getting it. Like whenever we used to go to the shops and we want some lunch box, we want plastic bottles or like bottles, water bottles, so we are having many options because they are having different shapes, and you can say that they are having different design, that we are very fascinated about it, that we want that type of bottle. So like girls who like small kids want some toy kind of bottles, so we are having different design of it. So you can say that these are having many of the characteristics. So the first one we can write it down here, that the first one is that they are available at a very cheap cost, then they are light in weight, and they are available in different colors and available in different colors. That means we are having different colors for them, and different design as well. So we are having different colors for them. Second one is that they are strong. Even the students, like if you are using water bottle which is stronger in nature, and even though if it falls down, so it will not going to break down easily. So they are strong, durable. That means they are last longing. It's not like that by using the water in it, like the buckets, the plastic buckets or the plastic mugs which we are using in our houses. So what happens that if we take one difference here, that the iron buckets, if we are using water in it for daily purpose, so what happened that after some time we can see one brown color layer over it. It is the rusting of that iron bucket. That means that iron is going to be corroded, or you can say that it is destroyed. But the plastic buckets which we are using, they are not getting that destruction by the usage of water, because they are not that much reactive towards it. You can say that they are very less reactive. That means they are not reactive towards such reaction. That is why they are last longing, durable. And now that point comes here, and resistant to corrosion. Resistant to corrosion, that means they are not going to corrode like the iron buckets, as I have told you already this thing. And the third one is the molded into many shapes. Molded to shapes. Okay, different shapes you can get from it. Now the fourth one is these are the bed conductor of heat and electricity. Like we have concluded already that these are the bed conductor of heat and electricity. Of heat and electricity. Fine, students. Now coming to the another point, that the fifth one, these are the bed conductor of electricity. Now one is they are transparent, that we are getting it into many form, that it can be transparent, it can be translucent as well, and it can be opaque as well. That means such type of plastic are there, that even though in the plastic bottle they are somewhat transparent, that plastic bottles we can see from it. But if we talk about plastic bucket, like if I put plastic bucket here, so you can't see me because it is a opaque one. So these are the properties or the characteristics of plastic. And the last one is that they are non-reactive. Okay, they are non-reactive. Fine, student. So these are the characteristics of plastic, and even though you can add many points to it, like I can remember these points right now, but my students, if you are having any other point into that property, so you can also mention it. It's not like that you just have to read the points which I have written here. You can write the points from your mind also, which you are thinking that this one is correct for the plastic. Okay. Okay, students. But now the thing is that even though they are having so many characteristics, like they are having so many characteristics, but that's how. But at one point, people don't want to, like, they, it's just like that we don't want to use plastic. We are using plastic, but at some point it comes that plastic is making somewhat pollution. So what's that? Okay, so we'll discuss this point also here. So first of all, I just want to show you one thing. Okay, so type of plastic has been done. Now, like we have discussed their characteristics also. Now these are the plastic as a material of choice. Like why it is a material of choice, even though many times it has come, like we don't have to use plastic because it is doing pollution, it is doing like that or something, we are getting harm from it. But even though it is a material of choice, because we are using it a very large rate, that means even though in the formation of many things, like you can see that how many points are written here, used in the healthcare industry for packing of tablets, syringe. You can see that the tablets which we are having, they are having the wrapping of plastic only. Doctors gloves, even though non-stick cookwares, we are having so many uses of it because of their characteristics. But even though student, the point comes here that why we don't have to use plastics, that because plastic is having a very adverse impact over the environment. Why, student? Because it is a big problem. Okay, its disposal is a big problem. Now here comes two words, one is the biodegradable, another one is the non-biodegradable. So like for that, if I show you one thing here, see my student, that I'll show you one thing here. Okay, so this is the activity for you. You can do this activity at your home as well. So this is the activity. See, like you are having soil and you have dig a pit. So these are the two pits, and in one pit you are putting vegetable peel. Okay, vegetable peels you are putting here, and in one you are putting plastic bag. One plastic polythene, you can say plastic bag. Polythene you can put, it is a soil part. Okay, this is the soil part, student. And then just cover this date. Okay, what happens, student, after some time, that the microbes, or you can say that the organisms, microorganisms which are present in the soil, these microorganisms, when they pass into this pit, so they, what they will do, they will break down the, they will you can say that decompose these vegetable peels, because these vegetable peels are biodegradable in nature. Okay, these are biodegradable in nature. That means these vegetable peels are eaten up by the microorganisms. Okay, like now what will happen, that if you have dig this pit and you have put the vegetable peels in one, and in the another one you have put polythene bag, and after 10 days and I ask you to go and again dig that pit, and what you'll find, that you will not, that there will be no vegetable peels here, because that vegetable peels has been eaten up by the microorganisms. So that is why they are biodegradable, because these are decomposable in nature. But even though, if we talk about 10 days, that means it's not only about 10 days. If we talk about 10 days, 20 days, even though 1 month, if we talk about, even though we talk about 2 months, if we, or even so, you are not go, you will find it out, what you will find out, that plastic bag as it is in that pit. That means the microbes which have gone to that part to eaten up that plastic, they are not able to eat it up, because that plastic is not biodegradable in nature. It is what, it is non biodegradable. That means non biodegradable. That means you can say this thing, that the plastic bags are not decomposable. And even though, student, this is the reason behind the plastic, why it is we are not, that it is having the impact over the environment. And you can say that it is not a good impact, it is a very bad impact, because plastic is not decomposable in nature. That means plastic is not going to be decomposed. So that is why it is very important to it is why very important for us to stop using plastic, because plastic bags, if these plastic bags are eaten up by the animals, so they will cause harm for the, for their body. Okay, so that is how we can say that they are having the, they are not good to use. Okay, because they are non biodegradable. Even though, like the picture I can show you here. So just a minute, I'll just show you one picture here. There you can see that this is the beach, or you can say some kind of space where all of the plastic has been collected. As it is not biodegradable, so we can't dispose it. It is a very big problem. Why? Because there are some reason. Now, what are these reasons? Because it will cause pollution, as they are not biodegradable, and they release toxic fumes on burning. Like if we burn the plastic, so after it burning process, what we are getting, we are getting what, we are getting toxic fumes. If we are getting toxic fumes, that toxic fumes will get dissolved, or you can say that it will get mixed up with our atmosphere, and that atmosphere we are using for our respiration process, that we are inhaling it, we are exhaling it. That means we are, the sum of that particles are going inside us, and it will be a toxic for us as well. So that is how, student, the plastic is forming a environmental pollution. Even though plastic if you put that plastic in the water, like for 10 days, 20 days, 1 month, 2 month, it is not going to be you can say, na, like after sometimes when there are vegetable peels, they are going to be somewhat there is some change in it, but plastic is not going to be have any change. Even though that, so that's the reason that why it is causing the environmental pollution, because it is non biodegradable thing. Okay, so, students, that's the reason that why we asked to stop using the plastic. Fine. Now, the point comes here that if the plastic is so much having adverse impact, so why we don't use plastic, why we don't stop the using of plastic? Because the same thing, students, that we are used to it. So what we can do here, that if we are not going to stop the usage, so we can apply some of the points here. What we can do, something we can use 3 hours resolution. 3 hours, you know what it is, that we can recycle it, we can reuse it, and the last one is that if we can recycle it, we can reuse it, and what's the last star can be? Recycle, reuse, and we can say that we can refuse. So these are the 3 hours for it. That means even though we can, that if at any point is just that, like if we are using polythene bags, so do you find any another type of, like any another type of bag? So like if we are having polythene bags, students, so instead of using polythene bags, what we can use, we can use jute bags, either we can use paper bags. So we can say that we are having two options. If we are having these two options of the jute bags and paper bags, so why we are going for the plastic bags? Exactly, so we can refuse them. This is how. Okay, now reuse means that it's just like that, if that bottle if we are having, and if we want to if there is the condition that we can reuse it, so just try to reuse it. Recycle, that if we can say that if we are having one chair, and that one chair and the one leg of that chair has been broken down, so what we can do, we can reuse it by remolding it and then recast into different shape, and we can reuse it again. So that's how, student, we can somewhat decrease the usage of plastic, because it is having a very adverse impact over the environment. So students, I hope you can make many more things, or you can use many things as alternate to plastic. Like if we talk about bottles, we can use wooden bottles. If we talk about lunch box, we can use steel box, glass boxes, or you can say that we can use what, wooden boxes. But it's like that we students will not find, or the children will not find it cool. So that's how they are always used to run behind the plastic bottles or plastic lunch boxes. Okay, so there is a very important need to decrease the usage of the plastic, because it is not decomposable in nature. Fine, students, and I hope my students will do this thing for their environment. Exactly. So that's our student. We have completed with this chapter. Now, like I'm having some question here, so we are going to discuss it. So just give me a minute for it. Just a second. Okay, so explain why plastic containers are favored for storing food. Like we are having foods, and why we prefer the plastic, even though not only for storing food, even though when we are having chips, we are having chocolates, when we are getting it from market, they all are having the wrapping of plastic only. It's not like that we are getting chips or chocolates in the container of iron box or something like that in metal boxes. So why we prefer plastic for storing food? Like we have discussed some characteristics, like they are non-reactive, that means they react very less. That is why, student, we use plastic containers. Like whenever we used to keep pickles, if there is the pickle, and if there is the what we can say iron box or something like that, so that iron can react with the acid which is present into that pickle, because it is having sour taste. Okay, so that is why, student, because of the property of that metal, the reaction between acids, so we don't use such type of boxes. We use plastic because it is non-reactive in nature. Like the plastic do not react with the food stored in them. Plastics weights are lightweight, and even though they are strong, and they are easy to handle and safe. So these are the properties of the plastic. Okay, now explain the difference between thermoplastic and thermosetting plastic. I hope all of my students are now able to answer this question very easily. That the thermosetting plastic is what? That it is the plastic which that the thermosetting plastic, when molded once, can't be softened again. They lose their plasticity. That is the bakelite and melamine. And if we talk about thermoplastic, is that which you can remold into different shapes. So for example, polythene and PVC. So these are the some questions which I want to discuss with you. And I hope you can learn this chapter from me very well, and you have find all of the topics here. And even though I have tried each and everything so that you can get understand, you can understand each and every topic. And even though after taking all these things, even though if my students is having any doubt, any question in your mind, what you can do is just that you can post your question on the forum which we are having, so that you can get your answer easily, because our forum is always there for you, so that you can put up your question there, and the experts or we can answer your question, and you can answer and you can get the answer very easily. Okay, students, so that's how you can put up your question and you can do that. But like I have discussed, I have tried to point out each and everything in this chapter that which relates with this chapter. But is just that by mistake, if something is left there, if or if any point is there in your mind which is not, which has not been discussed. But I hope I have done everything in this, and I hope if any question is there in your mind, any query, you can post your question on the forum and you can get your answer. We are having both type, like we are having public forum also, that if the students, you can, if you are having like question, you can post it there over the public forum as well. Okay, so you can do that. And it's my request to all of you that if you're finding each and everything fine, so always try to keep learning from us IITian, and always we try to give you a very what I can say, a very maintained lecture which is from your syllabus. And I have try and we'll try to put solve your queries and take different examples as well, and I hope I have done that. So thank you, student, thank you everyone, thank you.